Can you imagine you sit down to meditate, you close your eyes, you take a deep breath, but instead of feeling peaceful, your mind becomes even louder, more thoughts, more tension, more anxiety. Because that was me, and I used to think that meditation is for everyone, that everyone's supposed to do so. And if I cannot, that maybe something wrong with me, that maybe I should learn a new technique, or maybe I should be more just disciplined, put more time into my practice. But apparently I was solving the wrong problem. What changed the situation for me was not just another style of practice or something like that. It was understanding how my body and mind work together, how my nervous system work, and only then replacing the meditation with something that I was able to do at that moment. Not forever, just for this season of my life. And honestly, that changed everything. Part 1. The hidden shame of not being able to meditate. Meditation is often presented as one solution for all. You can sleep, meditate. You feel anxious, meditate. Feel overwhelmed, meditate. And for many people it really helps. But it's not for everyone actually. There is another group of people like me, maybe you're one of them as well as you're watching this video. This other group, we sit down, we close our eyes, and everything suddenly becomes even louder. Thoughts start to race, body feels restless, we want to move, we want to quit. Some people can even feel a panic, and thoughts start to appear like, maybe I'm doing it wrong, what's wrong with me, I'll never be calm, I must try harder. And then this shame appears to even tell anyone that you cannot properly meditate, so to say. And if you ever felt so, I want you to know you're not alone, you're not broken. I was like this as well. So it's normal. Part 2. What actually happening when we cannot meditate? One thing that changed my perspective completely was learning about the nervous system, especially polyvagal theory. And simply, it's just about that our nervous system is constantly asking, am I safe? And if the answer is yes, our body allows connection, curiosity, calm, and presence. And if the answer is no, we shift into survival mode, like a fight or flight or freeze response. And science shows that when we are under chronic stress, our nervous system becomes more focused on potential danger instead of resting and reflecting modes. So when we ask ourselves to stay still, to when we try to meditate, so our mind finally gets this space where it can reflect on all the stuff that we have been holding before. That's why these thoughts can become even louder and louder. And it can become really overwhelming, not because the meditation is bad or not because your body don't want to relax, just because you already feel too much. And in meditation, we finally have enough time and space to notice what already was happening there. And it's scary. Part 3. My turning point and how somatic practices helped me personally. This was actually a big moment for me when I discovered for myself somatic practices, because instead of asking my mind to become quieter, they did a little bit different. They invited my body to feel safe, to let go of this survival mode. And oftentimes it looked very, very simple, like walking barefoot, touching the trees, looking around the room, noticing how I breathe, noticing my feet on the ground, also like do the shaking to shake the tension out of my arms and out of the whole body. It wasn't something dramatic, but with these small little shifts, my nervous system started to learn safety again, step by step. And the more regulated I become, the more regulated my body becomes, the more easier, I would say, the meditation would go. I wasn't already stressed that much to sit down and close my eyes, basically. Because I stopped to try harder and harder to get myself into this meditation. I started just to be more curious, and that's how it changed. Part 4. Why somatic practices help to calm down. The main concept I want you to remember is that our mind learns through explanation, where our body learns through experience. That's why often knowing something is not enough. It's very important, it's super crucial to understand ourselves, to grow self-awareness, but at the same time, our body learns through experience. That's why we need to build this base of experiences to educate our body safety. Because you can know that you are safe, but still feel anxious. That's just how the body works. And the somatic practices exactly works like this. It works from the bottom to the up. So instead of convincing your body that it's safe through your mind, it gives your body this experience, this necessary experience to really feel safety, to learn safety. And then already when nervous system and the body calms down, then peace of the mind also catches up, basically. And scientific study now increasingly confirms that body-based approaches can support our emotional regulation long term and can influence our nervous system. That's why, honestly, sometimes just one mere minute walking barefoot on the ground can help you more than sitting 20 minutes still and like pushing yourself into this. Part 5. The experience to observe what outside, not inside. So the invitation today is start looking outside, not inside, because inside can be scary, overwhelming. We don't look inside today, only outside. And I invite you just do the stuff together instead of just speaking about it. So you don't need perfect posture, you don't need to empty mind, you don't need to close your eyes, you need nothing basically. Just stay as you are. And I invite you to notice how your feet are right now. Do they stay on some surface, on the floor or carpet, or maybe you're in the shoes, or if you're barefoot, or if you sit with the legs crossed, what your feet are touching. Just notice how it is. What is the temperature, warm or cold? And after, I invite you to slowly look around the room. Just look like left, right, left, doesn't matter. Noticing what's around you and name for yourself like 3 objects around you with naming the color. For example, I see yellow pillow, I see black tripod, I see red brick house. As simple as that. And then I invite you to make a deep breath. Please breathe out through your mouth. And maybe look around again. And that's it. Regulation often can be very quiet, and it doesn't require any aha moment or anything, but maybe even after this practice, your nervous system starts to settle a little bit, just for some moments. It's not supposed to cause any huge feeling right now. It's just what we did. We just sent a message to your body, to your nervous system, that maybe right now, right in this exact moment, I'm safe. Part 6. How I feel today about the meditation. Well, now I can actually enjoy the meditation, but it's still not my favorite practice to do. I don't do it every day, honestly, and not my favorite one, as I said. I prefer another kind of practices, but my relationship with meditation now are much better right now than before. And it's mainly because I just stopped forcing myself into the meditation and stopped shaming myself, stopped feeling guilty for not enjoying the meditation. So again, meditation, it's not a bad thing, it's amazing practice, but sometimes we just need another doorway in this stage of our life, for example. And I think it applies for many people. So if you're not enjoying the meditation, please don't think that something is wrong, don't blame yourself. Maybe you just need to start from another practice and then come to the meditation after. Maybe it's just your way. And oftentimes healing doesn't start with quietening the mind. Sometimes we need first to quieten kind of the body to help it feel safe enough to then sustain what's in the mind, and then again quieten the mind, but as a next stage already. And if you feel that it's something more hiding in your nervous system, welcome to watch this video next. See you there. Bye.